dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke, and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom.
My dear students, today in Standard 6 History, we will be learning the topic Religious Trends in Ancient India. And in this topic, we are going to talk about various religions and its teachings. So in that, Jainism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam and Zoroastrianism. So the first thing which we are going to talk here is the Jainism. But before that, we'll just talk about the period before all these religions. As we know, Yajnayites acquired undue importance when we talk about the end of the Vedic period. The minute details of Yajnayites acquired undue importance, and it was because only priestly class had knowledge of those details. No common people have any idea or knowledge about that. No longer had the freedom to gain that knowledge because others no longer had the freedom to gain that knowledge. And the Varna system restrictions became very hard in the course of time. We learned that in the previous lesson that because of the Varna system, people were divided into different classes. And a person's social position was decided by the Varna into which he was born rather than by his achievements. So 4 Varnas were there: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. तो इन चारों वर्णों में से आदमी जिस वर्ण में पैदा होगा उसी से ही उसकी पहचान बनती थी. उसके अचीवमेंट्स, उसके स्किल्स कोई मायने नहीं रखते थे. अगर वो शूद्र वर्ण में बॉर्न हुआ है, जन्म हुआ है उसका, और उसमें कई सारे स्किल्स भी है, तो भी उसका कुछ फायदा उसके लिए नहीं होता था. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट, फ्रॉम द उपनिषद पीरियड वी सी दैट attempts were made to give a wider scope to religious thought and not restrict it only to Yajnayites. However, the thought in Upanishads focused on the existence and nature of the soul. It was difficult for ordinary people to understand it, and which gives rise to different sects that emphasized the worship of particular deities. For example, the Shaiva sect or the Vaishnava sect. Shaiva sect of Shiva worshippers, and the Vaishnava sect, the followers of Vishnu. So different Puranas were written with reference to these deities. And then certain trends around the 6th century BCE made attempts to express religious thought in such a way that common man would understand it easily. Because the problem was with the Vedic period, it was not for all. Restrictions were there for the common people, and that is why the options were there. Many people realized that every person is free to find ways of his own upliftment, and this led to the establishment of new religions. And these religions emphatically stated that discrimination on the basis of caste has no place in an individual's upliftment. And this was the central thought or the basic idea of all other religions, because of which people were attracted towards the अदर रिलीजन्स. क्योंकि अगर हम वैदिक पीरियड की बात करेंगे तो वर्णा सिस्टम थी, उसमें जो ऊपर के वर्ण में पैदा होता था उसको ही सारे अधिकार थे, और जो यज्ञ रिचुअल्स थी वो कॉमन लोगों के लिए नहीं थी. एंड ऑल्सो द मेन थिंग, discrimination was there on the basis of caste, on the basis of gender. But when we talk about all other religions, then it stated that discrimination on the basis of caste has no place in an individual's upliftment. So the work of Vardhaman Mahavir and Gautam Buddha is of special importance among the proponents of new thoughts. So here the first thing, Jainism is one of the ancient religion in India. The religion gives importance to the principle of non-violence, and according to the Jain tradition, a person who reveals religious knowledge is known as a Tirthankar. There have been 24 Tirthankars in all. So the person who reveals religious knowledge, जिसके पास religious knowledge हुआ करता था, वो लोगों में religious knowledge बांटता था, उसे तीर्थंकर कहा जाता था. और all together 24 तीर्थंकर्स were there, and Vardhaman Mahavir is the 24th Tirthankar in the Jain religious tradition. Now if we talk about the Vardhaman Mahavir, there was a Mahajanpada known as Rijji. Here in the map you can see is what is known as the state of Bihar today. Its capital was Vaishali, and Vardhaman Mahavir was born in Kundargram, a part of Vaishali. So the Mahajanpada Rijji, capital Vaishali, and Kundargram, a part of Vaishali. His father's name was Siddharth and mother's name was Trishala. Vardhaman Mahavir left his home and all comforts for the attainment of knowledge. He attained enlightenment. After 12 and a half years of rigorous tapa, and this knowledge was pure or keval. So the first thing which we have to understand here about the Vardhaman Mahavir, he left his home and all comforts for the attainment of knowledge, or we can say in search of knowledge. And after 12 and a half years, this knowledge which he caught was pure or keval, and therefore he is also known as Kevali. He was called Jina or conqueror, which means the joy derived from physical comforts and the discomfort felt due to undesired things had no impact whatsoever on him. The next thing, Vardhaman is said to be Mahavir because he had the resilience, here the courage to conquer all the passions, and after the attainment of knowledge he preached for about 30 years to explain the essence of religion to people. It means that he spread the knowledge to the people. To make it easy for people to understand it, he spoke to them in Ardha Magadhi, a people's language. And if we compare this with the Vedic literature or the Vedic knowledge, then each and everything was in Sanskrit language, and which was not allowed for the people to speak and to learn and to listen. And that's why people were attracted towards the Jainism or all other religions, because the head of that particular religion talked in the people's language. The assembly held by the Tirthankar to preach to people was known as Samavasran in Ardha Magadhi, which was based on equality. Very important thing. People of all varnas had entry to it. ऐसा नहीं था कि किसी पर्टिकुलर एक वर्ण के लोग ही उसमें जा सकते हैं, जैसे वैदिक पीरियड में था. इसमें सारे वर्णों के लोग शामिल हो सकते थे और उसमें वो नॉलेज गेन कर सकते थे, अपनी बात भी, अपने क्वेश्चंस भी पूछ सकते थे. The Panch Mahavratas, or the five great vows of the Jainism. First one, Ahimsa. That is, no living being should be hurt, injured or harmed through one's behavior. Then Satya, truthfulness, that is, every speech and action should be true. Asteya, non-stealing, means theft. Taking what belongs to others without their consent is theft or stealing. And asteya means not stealing anything. Then aparigraha, non-attachment. Man tends to accumulate property due to greed. And aparigraha means not hoarding or accumulating anything in this way. Things which you need are important or you can collect, but more than that, no need of all the things. Then the brahmacharya. It means living bodily pleasures and following the oaths. So the five important vows are the Pancha Mahavratas of Jainism, and then the Triratna, the three jewels. Samyak Darshan, that is to understand the truth in the preaching of the Tirthankar and to have faith in it. Samyak Jnan, studying the preaching and philosophy of the Tirthankar regularly and learning its deep meaning. And the Samyak Charitra, strictly following the five great oaths, that is Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Aparigraha and Brahmacharya. Now, what is exactly the beauty of the Jainism, or the essence of the teachings of Vardhaman Mahavir? Among the teachings of Mahavir, Anek Tattvavad is considered to be very important in the quest for truth, which means pluralism or multiple viewpoints. In our quest for truth, if we focus on only one or two aspects or viewpoints and draw conclusions, the whole truth is not known. Therefore, it is very important to think each and everything while concluding something. अलग अलग एंगल से उसके बारे में सोचना. जैसे एक कहावत भी है या फिर एक कहानी भी है कि अगर आपकी आंखों में पट्टी बांध दी और आपको कहा गया कि किसी एक चीज़ को हाथ लगाओ, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल एलिफेंट जो आपने देखा नहीं है, तो आपके हाथ में जो हिस्सा आएगा आप कहते हो कि एलिफेंट वैसा है. जैसे पैर आ गया तो आप कहोगे कि एक बड़ा से खाम की तरह है, या फिर उसकी पूँछ आ गई, या फिर उसकी सूंड आ गई. लेकिन जब आपकी आंखें खोली जाएगी और पूरी तरह से आपको एलिफेंट दिखाया जाएगा, देन यू विल अंडरस्टैंड, ओ ऑल टुगेदर दिस इज द एलिफेंट. लाइक दैट, in philosophy also it is very important to consider all the views or the angles of any particular thing. So it is necessary to pay attention to all aspects of an issue, and if people follow this, they develop tolerance. Nowadays also this one is very important in our society, value of tolerance towards the opinions of other people in society, and give up the attitude of stubborn adherence to their own opinions. It is always not good to stick to your view. If you are stick to your view, it is at the same time very important to respect the other opinion or the other's opinion, and that is what we call tolerance. Here you can see the thought of Anekantavad. Vardhaman Mahavir taught the people that the greatness of man does not depend on his varna but his excellent conduct. और इसी बात को सुन के लोग अट्रैक्ट हुए इस रिलीजन की तरफ, क्योंकि तब तक वैदिक रिलीजन में उन्हें ये सारे अधिकार नहीं थे और यहाँ पर कोई डिस्क्रिमिनेशन भी नहीं था. इन द वैदिक ट्रेडिशन, द डूअर्स ऑफ नॉलेज हैड स्लोली बीन क्लोज टू वुमेन, बट Vardhaman Mahavir gave the right of sannyas, the right to renounce the word, that is to women too, and his teachings were love all living things, have mercy and compassion, and live and let live. So 3 things: love all living things, have mercy and compassion, and live and let live. Essence of the Mahavir's teaching. Then now next, Buddhism. Buddhism spread in India and in many countries outside India. Gautam Buddha was the founder of Buddhism. And now about this in detail we'll talk. Gautam Buddha was born at Lumbini in Nepal. His father's name was Shuddhodhan and mother's Maya Devi. His birth name was Siddharth. Here you can see Lumbini. He had attained knowledge of human life in his entirety, and that is why he came to be known as Buddha. He wanted to know why there is sorrow and suffering in human life. So the very important thing while studying any religion is the question. जैसे आपको क्वेश्चन आता है तो आप उसका आंसर ढूंढने के लिए निकल पड़ते हो, वैसे ही बुद्धा को ये क्वेश्चन आया कि ह्यूमन लाइफ में इतना दुख और सफरिंग क्यों है. एंड देन ऑन वैशाखा पूर्णिमा ही वॉज सिटिंग इन डीप मेडिटेशन अंडर अ पीपल ट्री एट उरुवेला near the city of Gaya in Bihar. That is when he attained Bodhi, enlightenment or the highest knowledge, and the tree is known as the Bodhi tree, क्योंकि ये knowledge जो उन्हें मिला वो बोधि वृक्ष के नीचे मिला. And the place Uruvala is known as Bodh Gaya. Here you can see Bodhi Vruksh and Uruvela. He delivered his first sermon at Sarnath near Varanasi. His teachings in the first sermon are termed Dhamma. He set in motion the wheel of Dhamma in his sermon, and that's why this event is called Dhamma Chakra Pavartan in Pali and Dharma Chakra Pravartan in Sanskrit. After that, he traveled on foot for nearly 45 years to preach Dhamma. जो भी नॉलेज उन्हें मिला था वो लोगों को बांटने के लिए 45 years वो घूमते रहे. And while preaching to the people, he preached in the people's language, that is in Pali, like Mahavir preached that in Ardhamagdi. In Buddhism, the concept of taking refuge in Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha is important. It is known as Trisharan. Now, if we talk about the philosophy or the teachings of the Buddha, there are 4 truths at the root of all human affairs, and they are called noble truths or Arya Satyas. The first and the very important, dukh, that is suffering. There is suffering in human life. There is no option for this. Then the cause of dukkha. If there is dukh or if there is suffering, then there must be a cause. ऐसा नहीं कि बिना किसी cause के आप सफ़र हो रहे हैं, आपको दुख हो रहा है. There is a cause of suffering. First step, suffering, then the cause of suffering. Now you know the problem, and now you have to work on the solution. So the dukkha nivaran, it is possible to end suffering. And the fourth one, pratipad, which means the way. This way leads to the end of suffering, and this is the way of good conduct. It is known as the Ashtangic or 8-fold path. अगर आपको दुख है, अगर आपको सफरिंग है, तो उसका कोई ना कोई रीज़न है, और अगर उसका रीज़न है तो उसका सोल्यूशन है. और उसका सोल्यूशन ये है कि आपको अपनी लाइफ में अच्छी तरह से अच्छी आदतें लगानी है. किसी और को तकलीफ नहीं देनी है, तो आपको भी तकलीफ नहीं होगी. विच इज़ गिवन इन द 8-fold path that we'll see. Panchashil. Gautam Buddha asked people to follow 5 rules. The rules are called Panchashil, in that stay away from killing animals, stay away from stealing, stay away from unethical conduct, stay away from telling lies, and stay away from intoxicants. ये सब आप करेंगे तो शायद आप किसी चीज से सफर नहीं होंगे. Next thing, Buddha Sangha. He created a Sangha of bhikkhus to preach his religion, and followers who gave up their domestic life and entered the Sangha were called bhikkhus. People of all varnas and castes could embrace Buddhism. अब ये भिक्खु जो थे, इनका काम था कि उन्हें जो नॉलेज मिला है वो दुनिया में अलग अलग कोनों में जाकर बांटना है. आज की तरह उस वक्त न्यूज़पेपर, टेलीविज़न, सोशल मीडिया ये सारी चीज़ें नहीं थी, तो इनको चलते चलते ही अलग अलग जगहों पे जाना होता था और अपना रिलीजन जो है लोगों को समझाना होता था. नेक्स्ट थिंग, अगेन द एसेंस ऑफ बुद्धा's teaching. Gautam Buddha announced the freedom of human intelligence. At the center, human intelligence was there. He refused the discrimination based on things like varna. No one is greater or smaller by birth. जन्म से कोई छोटा या बड़ा नहीं होता है. Greatness depends on one's behavior or conduct. Even the little quill can keep freely in her nest. This shows his thinking on the values of freedom and equality. He preached that like men, women too had the right to their own upliftment. He opposed the rituals of yajna. His teachings of wisdom, moral virtue and other values are aimed at the welfare of man. Compassion, that is karuna, for all living beings was an extraordinary feature of his personality. The Noble Eightfold Path: right view, right resolve, right speech, right conduct, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness and right concentration. So if you follow all these things, then there is no suffering in life. Lokayat, next to the Jainism and the Buddhism, the ancient trend of thought known as Lokayat or Charvak is also important. It is emphasized independent thought and rejected the authority of Vedas. So Jainism, Buddhism and the Lokayat rejected the authority of the Vedas. Now the next one, Judaism. People belonging to the Jewish religion may have arrived in Kochi in Kerala around 1st to 3rd century of the Christian era. They believe that there is only one God, and this religion emphasizes justice, truth, peace, love, compassion, humility, charity, ethical speech and self-respect. Here you can see their prayer house, which is known as synagogue. So if you people compare the teachings of all the religions, one thing which is common, we find that each and every religion always talk about the justice, truth and no discrimination on the basis of men and women or on the basis of varna or on the basis of caste. Next is Christianity. Christianity is a religion founded by Jesus Christ and it has spread all over the world. Now if we talk about India especially, then Saint Thomas, one of the 12 disciples of Christ, came to Kerala. Saint Thomas, disciple of Christ, came to Kerala in the 1st century of the Christian era. He established a church at Palayur in Trichur district. Here you can see. And according to the teaching of Christianity, there is only one God. He is the loving Father of all and is omnipotent. It is believed that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and who came to the earth for the salvation of mankind. We are all brothers and sisters. Love for everyone, including our enemies, forgiving those who go wrong. So forgiveness is the important thing in the Christianity. The Bible is the holy book of Christianity and their prayer house is known as a church. Next one, Islam is monotheistic religion. There is only one Allah and Muhammad is his prophet. The message of God is revealed through him in the holy book of Quran Sharif. Like Bible is the holy book of Christian religion, then the Quran Sharif is the holy book of Islam religion. The word Islam means peace. It also means surrender to Allah. The teaching of Islam is that Allah is eternal, absolute, all-powerful and merciful. The purpose of human existence is to worship Allah, and the Quran Sharif provides guidance on how man should behave in life. Since ancient times, there have been trade relations between India and Arabia. Arab traders used to visit the ports on the coast on Kerala. Islam spread in Arabia in the 7th century CE. Islam arrived in India in the same century through the Arab traders. And here the prayer house of Islam is known as mosque or masjid. Now the last one given in our topic is Zoroastrianism. Since ancient times, the Zoroastrian people and Vedic people have shared ties. The sacred text of Parsis or Zoroastrian people is the Avesta. The language of the Rig Veda and Avesta is similar. The Parsis came to India from the Pars or Fars province of Iran and therefore they are known as Parsis. It is mostly believed that they first came to Gujarat in the 8th century CE. Now here Zarathustra or Zoroaster was the founder of their religion and Ahura Mazda is the name of their god. The elements of fire and water are very important in their religion. At the core of Parsi thinking are three main principles of conduct, namely good thoughts, good words and good deeds. So here in today's topic, we people discussed about the Jainism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam and Zoroastrianism. By studying all the things of all the religions, one thing which is very common in all the religions, that each and every religion is talking about the betterment of human life. आप किसी भी रिलीजन के हो, लेकिन आपका रिलीजन किसी दूसरे रिलीजन के लिए हमें हेट नहीं करने को बताता है, बल्कि हम सब एक साथ खुशी से कैसे रहेंगे यही बातें सारे रिलीजन में कही हुई है. सो इट इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट टू रिस्पेक्ट आवर ओन रिलीजन एंड एट द सेम टाइम वी शुड रिस्पेक्ट अदर पीपल्स रिलीजन also.
Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications. So my dear ones, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.